So, hi.
Hi.
Thank you for coming today. So, as a nutrition advisor, my role is to understand what you're currently eating and your lifestyle. And we'll talk about strategies and ways to improve this so that your diet aligns with the Australian dietary guidelines. Now, my goal is to not only tell you what should change, but the reasons why. So, I want to try and educate you as much as possible. This is Sarah.
Hi.
So she is a doctor at the Prince of Wales. So if you've got any questions that I can't answer, hopefully she can.
All right.
Just a reminder, there's hand sanitizer there.
Thank you.
And the bathrooms are just down the corridor to the right.
Right. Thank you.
Okay, so in terms of what we're going to go through today, so we are going to go back through that pre-screening information that you've already supplied, make sure everything's still up to date. I then want you to tell me everything you've eaten in the last 24 hours. I'm then going to tell you what you should be eating, and we're going to compare the two.
Okay.
We are then going to, so I know that you said you want to know how to look after your body as you get older, so we're going to talk about that, and strategies to cut down your alcohol intake.
Fantastic.
We're then going to end with some more specific goals, so goals that you can take away and kind of put into practice today. Now, if there are any questions that I can't ask and Sarah can't answer and Sarah can't answer, I'll make sure to refer you to the relevant health professional. Perfect. So let's start with your pre-screening questionnaire.
Okay.
All right. So your height is 1.75 and your weight is 62. Is that still the same?
Yeah.
So I did calculate your BMI before the session. So your BMI is 20.2. So you're in a healthy range.
Okay.
So really good. You're actually at quite a lower end of this. So don't be afraid of putting on a few kilos. You do want to remain within that healthy range.
Okay.
BMI, just so you know, it's actually very old. So it was established over 200 years ago, and it doesn't take into account body composition, so how much muscle you have or anything like that. So it's not the best. It doesn't tell you everything. A blood test tells you a bit more. So just something, I don't know if you've had a blood test recently.
No, I'm due now.
Okay, well then you don't. Now, in terms of medication and family medical history, there's nothing in your family. You don't have any intolerances or cultural beliefs that limit what food you can eat.
Yeah.
You rarely eat beef, though. That's correct?
Yeah.
And you're not on any supplements. You drink about 3 glasses of water a day. Yeah?
Yeah.
And in terms of exercise, so you do about 12,000 steps.
That's right.
And 8,000 of these are from walking.
Yeah.
At quite a fast pace, or?
Depends on the dog I have at the time.
Nice. Yeah.
Okay, medium pace.
Okay, good. And then you do a couple of hours gardening about 3 times a week.
Yeah.
Great, that's really good. You're tired?
I am.
Yeah. And you get about 7.5 hours sleep a night.
Yes.
And you do not smoke, which is great. Now your goal, as we've kind of already discussed, so you want to maintain your weight and fitness, which is really good. You don't need to increase or lose weight. It's really good. You can put on a few kilos, but it's nothing that you really need to focus on. And just looking after your body as you get older.
Yeah.
Perfect. So I'm going to ask you to tell me everything you ate. So yesterday.
Okay.
So let's start with breakfast.
Okay. Starting with breakfast, I had 1 Weetabix with some yogurt and a banana and a cup of tea.
Okay. And for your lunch?
For lunch, probably a really unhealthy lunch. I had cheese and crackers.
Yeah.
And my dinner was probably really unhealthy as well.
That's good. Lots of room for improvement.
So for dinner yesterday I had chicken pie with jacket potato and sour cream and sweet corn.
So chicken pie, jacket potato.
Yeah.
You say with sour cream?
With sour cream, yeah. And then some sweet corn and a glass of red wine.
And was the chicken pie, did you make that or
No.
you bought? Yeah.
I bought that, yeah.
And any snacks?
No, I'm not big one for snacks. I
Okay.
don't usually have snacks.
Perfect. Awesome. And is that quite a usual lunch? It's quite a small lunch.
Yeah, no, it's not normal. Normally I would have some salady stuff as well,
Yeah.
but yesterday I was just really busy and
Okay.
it was easy.
Convenient, yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. And who usually cooks in your family?
I'd say 75% my husband and 25% me.
Perfect. Awesome. Okay. Well, that is good to have a look at. So what we're going to look at now is what you should be eating, and then we can compare the two. So have you heard of the Eat for Health website?
No.
So it's basically your source of truth for when it comes to what you should be eating. So there's a lot of resources on there which are really handy. One of them is your calculator to determine your recommended number of food groups, your recommended serving. Yeah. It's also got healthy tips for when you eat out. It's got healthy recipes, an example meal plan. There is a lot of people with many different ideas on what health is, but that is your source of truth. So if you ever get confused,
Eat for Health.
Eat for Health.
Okay.
It's a really good, user-friendly website. So what I did before this meeting was determine how many servings you should be eating a day. So let's take a look at that. So these are your different food groups, so your 5 main food groups, and then this last one refers to your discretionary foods. So anything outside these, pretty much your biscuits, your sweet soft drinks, mayonnaise, kind of your not so great foods. Obviously you want to limit that as much as possible.
Okay.
When it comes to vegetables, you want to get 5 servings a day. So I'll take you through actually what these servings kind of equate to. You want to get 5 servings a day and 2 fruit. I feel like that's kind of common knowledge. Everyone knows that. You'll actually be surprised about how much of a serve is a vegetable, how much you need to eat to get 1 serve. So we will go through that in a bit more detail. Your grain food, so you want to aim for whole grain. So think like anything brown. So instead of white rice, brown rice, wholemeal pasta instead of white pasta. And then your lean meats, it's 2. And your dairy, so milk, yogurt, and yogurt, mostly reduced fat, is 7. That's really high. And then your discretionary is 0 to 2.5.
Okay.
So your grain foods, just so you know, from when you turn 50, it actually decreases from 6 to 4. Now, the main reason for this is as you get older, you don't require as much energy, so your grain serves decrease. The reason your grain serves decrease is we want to keep every other food group quite high, so it's just the food group that can be decreased.
But if you say you don't need you don't need as much energy, if you wanted to have more energy, would you try and keep that grain group higher? I don't know, sometimes I feel I'm lacking in energy.
I mean, it's a good question. Your grain foods are your main source of energy, so
I guess it depends on how much you're exercising. So if you're exercising, you definitely need to increase your calorie intake and increase that across all foods.
Okay.
But a lot of your energy you get from like your protein, and then you want the low GI grains rather than having high GI. That would give you more energy across the day.
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah. Now a big one to focus on is your dairy. So that was only 2.5 serves, and it increases when you reach the age of 50 to 7. So the main reason why it increases is it's obviously a really good source of calcium.
Mm-hmm.
As you get older, you need this source of calcium to help you to protect you against osteoporosis. Which is the weakening of bones. So usually your weight helps you maintain that bone health, but it can, I don't know what I'm trying to say here.
When women go through menopause, they often become osteoporotic just because of the changes in the hormone.
Yeah, and I do have scans, bone density scans. I can't remember what frequency, once every 2 or 3 years. I think it's quite regular, so I know a little bit about osteoporosis.
Do you know what your bone density is like?
It's in the normal range.
Okay, that's good. Yeah. Actually, a lot of Australians are actually calcium deficient.
Yeah.
If you're not getting your calcium, you can take a supplement. Sarah can tell you a bit more about supplements. It's not something that I can say whether you should or shouldn't take.
Okay.
But if we work out that you're not needing your dairy, it could be an option, but preferred source is through diet.
Yeah, your preferred source is always diet, but 7 serves of milk and cheese in your day is a lot. So if you're finding you're not needing it, and if your bone mineral density is definitely going down, it's something you should consider.
So you're going to tell me how much, one serving, or what one serving is of one portion. Okay.
We'll go through that in a minute, but first I actually just want to have a discussion about kind of each food group and why they're important a bit more. So I'm going to test you a bit. Why do you think vegetables are important?
Vitamins? They have lots of vitamins in them?
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, you're right. So they do contain a lot of vitamins, and actually, as cliche as it is, you should be eating the rainbow. So you want a different variety of colours, and this is because different vegetables provide different nutrients. So you can eat as much different ones as you can. They also contain a lot of fibre, so really good for the digestive system. It slows down digestion, which regulates blood sugar levels and keeps us feeling fuller for longer. And of course, they're said to reduce the risk of cardiovascular disease and some cancers.
So are potatoes included in that group?
They are, yeah. They're a starchy type of vegetables, but they do fall in that category, yeah.
Okay.
You'll need less potato than you would, say, lettuce. So a half a potato is a serve, whereas if you were just to eat salad, lettuce, you need like a whole cup, obviously, because it's more dense.
Okay.
Fruit, so similar. You want to eat the rainbow. So each fruit provides different nutrients, and which protects our body in different ways. Again, contains a lot of fibre and reduces the risk of a few diseases. They're also high in water. So if you do struggle to reach your fluid intake, eating fruit can really help you with that. And then your grains. So as I said, you want to aim for your whole grains. They are your carbohydrates, which are your main energy source. Again, contain a lot of fibre. They're low in saturated fats, which is good. And again, reduce the risk of many diseases. Now, whole grains, they're a type of complex carbs, which means that they release energy more slowly, so they'll keep you going for longer compared to refined carbs, which is like your white carbs, where you go on like the roller coaster. So you'll have energy quickly and then it quickly dips. Now, the reason this happens is during processing, the bran and the germ are actually removed, and that's the part that contains the fibre and the nutrients. Whereas with the whole grains or the complex carbs, that doesn't happen.
So the whole grain, it really is a whole grain.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. And then you've got your lean meats, poultry, fish, eggs, tofu, nuts, seeds. So they contain protein. So protein's really important to prevent muscle wasting, optimizes bone mass. So really important there. It contains iron as well, which obviously transports oxygen throughout the body. If you have a lack of iron, it can cause fatigue. Eating fish, you want to preferably eat oily fish twice a week. Do you reckon how many?
At least once a week, but not necessarily twice every week.
Okay, that's quite a good sort of goal that you can always try to help to increase. It helps decrease the risk in developing dementia, cardiovascular disease, and stroke. So really, also delicious. Yeah, always good to have. You've got your red meat, so your lamb, beef. I know you don't eat beef. Pork, veal. they're nutritious, but they are higher in saturated fat, so you want to be careful of how much of this you eat.
Okay.
And then processed meats, anything you get, deli, ham, salami, bacon, they have been altered to improve the taste, increase the shelf life, and they're high in sodium. So again, be really wary of how much processed meats you're eating. And then you've got your dairy. So we've kind of already spoken about that. Now, in terms of calcium, you actually need vitamin D, which helps absorb that calcium.
And that's the one you get from daylight?
Exactly. So you need at least 15 minutes, which you would be getting from your walks and gardening. But you want to try and have your forearms or your legs exposed.
Okay.
Yeah. Awesome. Any questions about that before we get on to serving sizes?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. So let's take a look at your serving sizes, just as like an example. So for example, I think we already said half a medium potato is a serve compared to salad where you need a whole cup. So different vegetables are have different nutrient densities.
But the non-dense ones are half a cup of the serve.
Exactly.
Okay.
And you need, as we discussed, 5 serves. So it is actually quite a lot of vegetables.
Yeah.
You probably want to aim for like half your plate vegetables. So you can
Okay.
do like some potato and then salad to like mix it up. Fruit, so 2 serves of fruit is quite easy, like apple, banana, orange. Your dairy, so you've got like a cup of milk. See, again, with the 7, like Sarah said, it's really hard to reach that 7 serves.
Yeah. I don't like milk, so I never drink milk.
Yeah, okay. Definitely supplementation might be something you want to consider, but something that you need to talk to your doctor about. Obviously, it's great if you can get it through your diet.
Because I think the cheese would be easy, but I feel that the cheese essentially has a lot of fat in it as well. So.
Yeah, cheeses, you really want to, I would say that better cheeses are like ricotta or cottage cheese, like those soft cheese, but you can get hard cheese, which isn't too high in fat. It's probably just not the most tastiest cheese. But so if you have grated cheese, we always have like a bag of the low fat cheese in the fridge to add to pasta or whatever instead of the full fat.
Okay.
And then your meat, so you only need 65 grams for the red meat compared to 80 grams for the poultry, so the chicken or turkey. So you can have more of that because it is lower in saturated fat.
So how much would, for example, a typical chicken breast weigh? I can't really visualize what 80 grams.
So I think when we get like a pack of 3, that's about 500 grams.
Okay.
So
160.
So be about half
a chicken breast.
Yeah.
Okay.
You've got, of course, your eggs as well.
Yeah.
Or legumes, but you don't really like the texture.
No, that's one thing I really don't like.
Yeah, that's fair enough. You've got nuts and seeds as well, so sprinkle nut seeds on your salads.
Yeah.
If you have muesli, it's usually in there. Grains, so it's like 1 slice of bread. You aim for whole grain bread instead of white bread. We've said that many times. Muesli, it's only 1/4 cup.
A crumpet. Would that be a whole grain crumpet?
Yeah, you can get one, yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't know if they exist actually.
Yeah, I have to have a look.
Yeah.
Mm.
So that's your serving sizes. So let's have a look at what you eat to determine what your serving sizes are.
Okay.
So you said for breakfast you had 1 Weetabix.
Yeah. Which I guess comes under the grain.
Exactly, yeah.
I think it would be half.
Yogurt.
And I would probably have about 3/4 of a cup.
Perfect. And banana.
Yeah.
1.
Yeah.
And then lunch, so cheese and crackers. So in terms of
I guess I have 2 portion sizes based on 2 that I did yesterday.
And then the crackers.
The crackers were quite whole grainy ones.
Yeah.
I'd like to think that they were You
So
know,
if you compare them to like the 3 crisp,
yeah, probably
so 1/3.
1/3.
Yeah. And then for dinner, so you had a chicken pie. So obviously you've got some chicken in there.
Yeah.
You've probably got some discretionary foods that you don't really know about.
All the stuff in the pastry.
Vegetables.
Well, I had a jacket potato.
Oh, yeah,
So I guess that's two portions because a half a portion
Yeah.
isn't it? And I had the sweet corn, but I probably had more than half a cup.
Okay, so 1.
Yeah, maybe 1.5.
And then the sour cream as well. So put that in dairy.
Yeah.
Cool. Great. And then no snacks.
Is the red wine need to go somewhere? Bad habit.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Awesome. So I'll just compare with Sarah. So vegetables, 3.5.
Yeah, I got. Was there any vegetables in your pie?
Yes, well, that's
Yeah.
it's chicken and meat.
3.5.
Yeah.
Probably, let's say 4 if there are some vegetables in the pie.
And then fruit, 1.
Have 1 banana.
Grain food, got 1.5.
Well, and there was the pastry and
Oh yeah.
So that would have been white flour, I think. Like
yeah.
that.
So
it's not a good choice, but it still comes in under the
grade 2.
Yeah.
And then the lean meat, 1.
Got 1 for
Yeah.
the chicken and the pie.
Dairy 4.
Yeah.
And then discretionary 2.
Yeah.
Cool. So if we compare that to what you're currently eating, so you want to try and increase your vegetables, you're nearly there.
Yeah.
Increase your fruit.
Okay.
Increase your grains. Might be increasing quite a lot, which is kind of nice. It's better than decreasing. Increase your dairy, and then your discretionary. You just don't want it to get higher. You're in the range, but
All right.
no higher. So let's have a think of ways how you would increase.
Yeah.
That's some tips. So I think we've already said with vegetables, double what you're eating now.
Okay.
You can do stuff like buy jars of roasted capsicums and just put them in any meal that you're having, really. Great vegetables up, so then you don't necessarily taste them as much, like grated carrots in pasta, grated zucchini. You can cook up a big batch and just have it in your fridge, so you can just grab a handful and put it in whatever meal that you want. You can make like vegetable frittatas, omelets, and just bulk them out with vegetables as much as possible. Your snacks, so I know you don't really eat snacks, but you could have like pre-prepared carrot sticks and like a nice dip instead of maybe crackers. If you need to increase strength, so don't do that.
Okay.
You just have as well. There's some tips there.
All right.
Fruit, again, just have another serving of fruit for a snack or dessert.
Maybe,
Grain food, so again, you want to increase them by about double what you're eating, so you could just increase what you're eating. And there's so many different grain foods as well, so you can experiment. You've got couscous, pasta, noodles, brown rice, so many different ones.
Yeah. I guess I always think you only have like that one staple, whatever it is, and on that particular day it was a jacket potato.
Yeah.
And another day it might be.
Right, that's right.
Yeah, the jacket potato comes in under the vegetables.
No, but that's what I meant was it's like a staple, like it's a big heavy thing.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
I guess the pastry as well with the pie.
Yeah.
Yeah. But okay, it's a super thought. I will think
You
about
could
how I can
increase to 2 weeks instead of 1. So
That's a good idea.
Because that's the one I probably need to increase most, I think.
Yeah. Your dairy, obviously, we've spoken a lot about. That's really important.
Yeah.
So I think, obviously, your lunch was quite snacky.
Normally, I would have like tomato and cucumber with cheese and crackers. So that would help with the vegetable.
Yeah, definitely.
But yes, the dairy. I'll have to think about bad at it.
Yeah, like yogurt and fruit as a snack, or yogurt for dessert is a really good one. You can also add yogurt instead of like mayonnaise if you were to have mayonnaise, or like as a sauce.
Yeah, that's true.
Feta to salads as well.
A good idea.
You could have smoothies. I know you don't really like milk, but you could do a smoothie with coconut water. Oh no, that actually doesn't. Or you could put yogurt in your smoothie or something like that.
Yeah.
So there's a few ways to increase that, but I think, like you said, your lunch isn't the most nutritious. It's just sort of cheese, crackers. You do want to add vegetables to every single meal.
Okay.
I think you know what you need to do.
Yeah. For me, I think it's more about the discipline of doing it.
Yeah, it's hard.
Yeah. So
and sometimes that can come just with better planning. So maybe the day before, just think about what you're going to have for breakfast, lunch, and dinner, instead of just going to your fridge and being like, what should I have? So think about it a bit more, and try and, in most of your meals, try and make sure you've got a vegetable, a grain, a meat, a dairy component, and try and create your meals like that.
Okay.
Okay, awesome. So let's now talk about your water intake. Okay, so your water intake is quite low.
I know.
Three glasses. You do want to be aiming for about 6 glasses. Is it that you just don't find yourself thirsty?
I don't find myself thirsty, and I find it so uncomfortable if you try and drink when you're not thirsty.
Yeah. Okay. I mean, water is very important. You don't just need to drink water. You can drink fruit and herbal tea, even fruit juices. Obviously, you just need to be mindful of the sugar content.
But if I have a cup of tea, for example, does that count as a glass of water?
Yeah.
Of herbal tea.
Yeah.
Herbal.
Yeah.
So like green tea is a diuretic, so it kind of cancels it out.
Okay.
But
I tend to drink
like
a
lemongrass and ginger and fruit teas are good. That counts as water.
Okay,
Yeah.
so it might be a little bit more than because I drink quite a lot.
Yeah, okay, that's good. Other tips is just drinking a glass of water as soon as you wake up.
Yeah.
And drinking a glass of water before every meal. It's obviously, water is really important for most processes that occur within your body. It can, as you get older, it becomes more important because you start being more sensitive to hot weather, which can cause dehydration. So yeah, just something to be mindful of. Obviously, not having enough leads to a lack of concentration and alertness and short-term memory as well. Sorry, Bessie. But that's, again, just something to be mindful of. Let's talk about now how to look after your body as you get older. So I think we've already discussed your calcium and the importance of calcium. Your BMR, which stands for your basal, is that how you say it? Mm-hmm. Metabolic. Thank you. Right. It slows down. So that's actually why the amount of energy you need to eat decreases. So that's why your brain decreases.
Oh, okay.
Now, like I said before, your bones remain strong through weight-bearing activity. So if you lose weight, then your bones will also decrease as well. So it's really important to maintain your weight. And even if your hunger level goes down, you need to try and keep eating the same amount. I know as you get older, sometimes, this is like years down the track, but you might lose like your sense of taste. So eating isn't as enjoyable. But again, you just need to know you don't just eat for enjoyment, it's actually for health. So keep up that food that you need to eat. Is there anything else I should add then?
And just making like the weight bearing exercises.
Yeah.
So putting stress through your bones increases your bone density. So the gardening is probably really good because I'm assuming you're lifting pots and stuff.
Yeah. But the walking,
that's also good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Legs, I guess.
Yeah.
But people who don't garden, you would encourage them to do weightlifting exercises rather than just walking.
Yeah. And I think maybe I should do a bit more of that sort of stuff.
That's actually what I wanted to talk about next is your strength training, but there's obviously quite a few different types of exercise. Your endurance is where your walking would fit in, so that's really good. You're currently already doing that. It's got quite a few benefits. But yeah, like Sarah said, strength is so important. You would get it through gardening.
Okay.
But there's so many YouTube videos, it sounds a bit silly and you might feel funny doing it for the first time, but so many YouTube videos that keeps you accountable, using your body weight. You don't need to buy any weights, body weight's fine. If you did want to get some free weights, that's great. But there's so many benefits. It improves your posture and mobility. As you get older, again, it reduces the risk of falling and reduces the risk of injury. It maintains your independence, your strength as well. So I know in your pre-screening questionnaire, you said you really want to keep your fitness and climbing hills. Strength is just as important as endurance in that. It increases your bone density as well. Flexibility and balance training are also really important. So examples of this is yoga, Pilates, maybe even swimming. Racket sports can help with balance. So a variety of sports obviously will do different things. So hopefully you can find a sport that you actually enjoy to do. But again, there's many benefits in that. But basically, end of the day is physical activity will help you live longer. It will improve your cardiovascular health and blood pressure as well.
And these are the frequencies. That are recommended.
Yeah, so it doesn't need to be for a long time every day, like 15 minutes, but it's definitely something that you should aim to do every day.
I am aware that I've lost strength in my upper body.
I've
been moving a bit of furniture around the house lately, and I realised that I'm not as strong as I used to be. So I should start looking at something.
So I feel like more and more research is being done into the benefits of strength training.
Okay.
And there's a lot of strength training in yoga and Pilates, which is a bit slower and less likely to injure yourself rather than doing like CrossFit or F45.
Yeah. I tried F45. And I did used to do yoga and I quite enjoyed it, but I need to make a regular commitment. That's the problem. It's a discipline thing again.
If you find a class that you love and you just make it into a habit of going every week.
That's what I have to do.
Yeah.
Okay. Good food for thought, Gabby?
Cool. Now, alcohol intake is the one other thing that you wanted to talk about. So alcohol consumption actually does increase to the age of 65. So the highest age group of alcohol consumption is 55 to 65. Is it? Just so you know.
That's interesting.
It's interesting. So the guidelines for you is 10 standard drinks over a week and no more than 4 standard drinks in a day.
And how much is a standard drink?
So that would be a glass of wine,
150 ml.
And then on like beer and cider, it'll usually say on the can it's usually at 1.3.
Yeah.
It varies, I guess.
Depends on the strength of the beer, but it can be more or less.
I'm sure you know alcohol isn't very high in nutrients. It damages the liver and brain, and it increases your blood pressure as well. So, I mean, I think everyone knows that there's not many benefits of alcohol, but it relaxes you, and that's why a lot of people do drink. Some strategies to limit. So obviously, aim for alcohol-free days. Would you say you have alcohol-free days?
I have been having alcohol-free days for a couple of months. I've had 4 alcohol-free days a year, so I think I'm doing quite well. And I'm not a huge drinker.
But everyone likes to try and drink.
I'm a bit of a habit,
You want to drink plenty of water. So again, your fluid intake, that alcohol dehydrates you. So a good goal is to drink 1 glass of alcohol and 1 glass of water or tea. If you want to mix tea and alcohol, it might be a bit weird. You can also, it may not sound very appetizing, but you can mix soda water with wine. It makes it into like a spritzer. And when you're drinking, try not to snack on salty foods because that will obviously make you more thirsty. Just a few strategies there. Any questions on that?
No, I think I know. I think I know what I need to do. I
Great.
think my whole problem throughout all of this is self-discipline. So I need to
Self-discipline,
work on, like you say, is building a habit.
Yeah,
And then
habit.
it'll be normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And don't try and like change everything in one go. You could say for the next month, I'm going to increase my dairy and just focus on that for the month, and then it becomes a habit. And then once that's a habit, then be like, okay, I'm going to do strength training for 15 minutes a day, and then do that until that becomes a habit as well.
Okay.
Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I mean, supposing I decided I didn't want to eat meat, is a plant-based diet, better for you? Do you read about it?
Yeah, it is. Obviously, eating more vegetables is always going to be good for you.
Mm-hmm.
The only thing is when you cut out your lean meats, it's more difficult to reach that protein recommendation. You also might miss out on vital vitamins and nutrients. I think B12 is one that's really difficult to get out of a plant-based diet, so it's something that you need to be aware of.
You can't get B12 in. If you eat a vegan diet, there's no B12, so you have to supplement.
And what does B12 do for you? What do you need it for?
It helps with your nerve health and vision and things like that. So, yeah, it's really important.
Yeah. So you could instead implement meat-free days. And if you want to go vegetarian, because it's what you believe in, do it. Maybe consult your doctor or a dietitian just to make sure you're still getting everything that you need to from your diet. So if you were to go vegan, that would make it very difficult to reach those calcium intakes that you need. So just something to be wary of. But I mean, eating less meat is definitely better for the planet, so something that you might want to consider.
So if you did want to go as a whole hog and go vegan, you'd also need calcium supplements, presumably.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is calcium in green leafy vegetables,
Okay.
but people really struggle to get enough calcium, especially in your population where you need 7 serves versus the normal 3.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Good point. Okay.
Yeah.
Something to think
And
about.
iodine is another one, so that's found in dairy and fish. It's really hard to get if you were to do a vegan diet.
Okay.
We're actually just going to end the session by just talking about 3 goals for you to implement. So my one that I think you should implement is eat a portion of dairy with each meal. So breakfast you can do yogurt, lunch you could add feta to whatever, a salad, sandwich, omelette, whatever it might be. And dinner again you could add the same feta, or you could do like yogurt as a dish. So that's my goal for you.
Okay.
Is there any that jump out at you?
In terms of goals, I think I need to think about my grains as well.
Yeah.
Maybe try and eat a bit less of the refined white stuff. I think I want to take more control over the shopping.
Yeah, perfect.
To make
Making
that
that
happen.
swap. Yeah, that's a really good one. And then I think another really good one for you to focus on is just completing 15 minutes of strength training every day.
Yeah.
Or you could just start at 3 days a week and then gradually increase.
Probably on your days that you don't do gardening.
Yeah.
The gardening would count.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. I know when I'm gardening it's quite physical.
Yeah. And if you pick up a pot, just do a couple of extra lifts of that pot.
Awesome. So that concludes our session. Just so you know, I will be sending you a client evaluation form. If you can just fill that out, provide me with any feedback, that would be great.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
No worries.
Very informative.
Thank you.